Hello, HIUS 512 American Revolution students. My name is Ronald Picciarelli, and tonight I'm going to be talking to you about my research project, and it's about the British Royal Navy's role during the American Revolution. The problem of the British Royal Navy in the American Revolution has been studied by many famous naval historians, such as Alfred Thayer Mahan, who also wrote a very famous book called The Influence of Sea Power Upon History. Well, Admiral Mahan also wrote a book about the navies of the American Revolution and studied the problem of the British Royal Navy and others. Also, the British Royal Navy's role in the American Revolution has been studied by British admirals, such as Julian Corbett, who's very famous in naval history. As we look at the role of the British Royal Navy in the American Revolution, we'll also compare that to what British historians and American historians had to say about it. During 1775 to 1777, the British Royal Navy supported the British Army, and they were able to evacuate Boston in March of 1776. 5 months later, they could basically land a force anywhere, and they chose Long Island. So they landed a very large force in August of 1776 in Long Island. The next year, the Royal Navy helps General Howe's campaign to attack Philadelphia by clearing the obstructions in the Delaware River. In 1778, the French declaration of war on England completely changed the character of the American Revolution from a rebellion of 13 colonies against the mother country to more of a global conflict where the British Royal Navy is in conflict with the French Navy all over the globe. In the high seas in the Atlantic, in the Caribbean seas, in the Mediterranean, in the Indian Ocean, and around the coast of India. The entry of the Spanish into the American Revolution certainly adds another navy there, with the Spanish Navy attacking the British post at Pensacola and in other places too. Also, you have the Dutch that entered the war, and then the Armed Neutrality League in Europe against the British. And the British Royal Navy is stretched way too thin during this more global conflict. Also, it doesn't help when the King George III and the British Admiralty, which is in charge of the Royal Navy, they come up with a new war strategy to fight the French in 1778, and it's not a very good strategy because they end up thinking that they're going to abandon most of their posts in North America to help them concentrate on the French in the area of the Atlantic and the English Channel, and then in the Caribbean. And they're willing to let virtually everything go in North America. They want to keep Halifax and Nova Scotia. They definitely want to keep Canada, but the 13 colonies, basically they can go. They want to keep an outpost in Florida. The rest can go. So it's not a very good strategy because it's very different from what their war-winning strategy was during the 7 Years' War, where the British were just amazingly successful in many parts of the world, and they ended up having this overwhelming victory at the end of the French and Indian War, or the 7 Years' War. Now, this compares to what American historians think about it, such as Willard Wallace and his Appeal to Arms book, and also Patriot Battles. These American historians mostly focus on the land battles, and they're not naval-minded. Just recently, they've tried to come up with that and say that the American Revolution, really was the shot heard around the world, and there were many other parts of the conflict around the world, so they're more getting into that. But that's my research report in a nutshell. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was a little bit more enlightening to you. Thank you.